Here for ODU. The freshman guards Bako and Palmore have played well. Bako had the assist to Painter on Saturday against Northeastern to tie the game at the buzzer and send it to overtime. Richard Ross adds a lot of energy for ODU. He's got 38 blocks on the season. There's interim head coach Jim Corrigan, his third game tonight. Taken over less than a week ago, and he told you and I, Ron, that defensive transition, defensive rotation, two big things they worked on. It's been a spark and better play for them as of late. Delaware, a lot of weapons. 3 coming off his first career double-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, also a career high, and 6 assists. Sadler leads the CAA in scoring, and Higgins is Delaware's all-time leading rebounder and shot blocker. Monte Ross has his team in strong contention this year for their first CAA title, perhaps. Little ways to go, but right now they would be the #2 seed in the tournament, so they're trying to hang on to that spot and need a win here tonight. You were wondering which team is going to show up for both this evening here in Newark, Ron.
But if you take a look at the job that Delaware's done, they've been able to bounce back. You know, they go down to Towson. I saw that game. They get pounded. They didn't play well. They couldn't hit shots. Their defensive intensity just wasn't there. But then they bounce back. They go to George Mason, beat a very tough George Mason ball club in their house. And then Old Dominion, I mean, since the coaching change, they're playing a lot more solidly. Beat Drexel, at Drexel, lose at home in overtime to Northeastern. The defensive principles have tightened up. They're playing a little bit freer offensively.
Delaware leads. Actually, Old Dominion leads the all-time series. And they've won 4 of the last 5 meetings. And underway here tonight from Newark as our officials, Roger Ayers, James Lucky, and Bernard Clinton. Early turnover for the Blue Hens, something that Monte Ross said in the pregame speech earlier tonight. Part that you didn't see about taking care of the basketball. They've kept the turnovers down as of late.
They have, and you definitely don't want to start a game that way, just giving the first possession to your opponents.
3 on the rebound. Delaware this season at home 6-3. They've won 18 of their last 24 games here in Newark. Anderson. 6 to shoot. And here comes Palmore for ODU. Ross with a jumper. That's in and out. Painter is fouled on his way up.
Good job by Painter on the inside. Fought for position early. He saw that Ross was going to take that jump shot and started to do his work early. Watch on the bottom part of your screen. You see Painter jockeying for position and going up. He's picking up where he left off after the Northeastern game. He had 16 boards that game.
Career high rebounds for Painter in the last game, and that loss to Northeastern on Saturday. 79-74 was the final in overtime. The foul was on Higgins for Delaware, his first.
You know, since the coaching change at Old Dominion, the guys, they've had a bit of a jolt of energy. You know, I watched them today in shoot around and in pre-game workout. Their attention span, they were a lot more focused. They're locked in as you see them getting the steal on the inbound.
Ross finishes after the steal from Palmore. Well, Richard Ross is a guy, Ron, that's had that energy all season long, I feel like. He's brought it every night.
Well, he's been the one constant in terms of, you know, keeping active, and that's how he plays. They just need everyone else to come along for the ride and lock in defensively and make sure their rotations are solid.
Higgins against Painter. Looking opposite Sadler. On the step back. Money for Devon Sadler. Almost a travel from Painter. Back inside this time against Brinkley and well off the mark. Three now for 3. Painter outlets. Here comes Palmore. Bako, a quick shot. We've seen that a couple of times from this team. Anderson for three. And rebounded by Hill. Alley-oop time, Richard Ross.
One of the few changes that they've made offensively since the coaching change at Old Dominion is they're running a lot more, and if they have the good look early, coach doesn't mind them taking it. So they're playing a little bit freer on the offensive end. And when you do that, your guys will fill the lane hard because you know coach doesn't mind you taking those early shots.
Well, there's Ross again, like we talked about. Palmore takes it in against Higgins. He's going to get the offensive rebound. Painter will take that outside shot. Wasn't a great shooting night for Old Dominion on Saturday or afternoon. They were 1 for 26 from three-point range. Under 4%. Brinkley. Out of bounds, ODU ball.
This is what you get out of transition. You see Ross running the floor hard when you know that coach doesn't mind you getting out in transition and taking early shots. The whole five guys you'll see all night long running the lanes, filling the lanes a lot harder than they were earlier in the year. Conversely, Delaware is going to have to make sure that communication is there because the ODU's bigs can really run the floor well.
Hill against Sadler. Traveling violation. Taking us to our first timeout of the evening. Old Dominion and Jim Cole Sunday. Now here we are Monday at Delaware. How crazy is that?
Hey, this is the business you have chosen.
Well, he's battling through it. He's doing a nice job. They beat Drexel on the road. They were up by as many as 18. They won by 12, and then they fell in overtime to the top-ranked team in the league, Northeastern, on Saturday at home. Sadler, good spin, takes contact, and will head to the free throw line.
When you're guarding Sadler, you can never relax because if you do, he'll take the jump shot, and if you push up on him, he has that strong body. He'll even take you to the basket. So your attention span defensively for 40 minutes has to be there when you're guarding Sadler.
Foul on Dante Hill. 17th leading scorer in the nation is Devon Sadler, and of course leading the CAA with over 19 points a game. He has double figures in 30 straight games, tops in the league.
Tops in the league and second nationally.
Nick Wright is in for Old Dominion, number 1. Bako had the look and takes a little bit of a tougher shot and puts it in.
He had the easy chippy there and made it a little bit more difficult than he had to be, but that's an indication of him trying to be unselfish. But that's what Jim Corrigan told us before the game. He wants their guys to be aggressive, especially when you have good looks.
Higgins double team coming down. Anderson makes him pay. Tie game at 6 on Anderson's first shot from the outside. Wright cannot counter for ODU, but Sadler stepped out on the baseline.
Take a look at this inside-out action. Higgins draws the double team, and then Kyle Anderson comes over for the wide-open jump shot. I really believe that Anderson is the wild card with this Delaware team. You know you're going to prepare for Higgins on the inside and have to deal with Threet and Sadler on the perimeter. But he's that third, fourth guy that you got to give some attention to.
Sadler on the feed from Higgins up the court. And a couple of big baskets back-to-back for the Blue Hens, so they're up by 2. Batten, tough shot, good board. How about Batten on Saturday, Ron? Career high, 25.
We've called several of their games, and we're not surprised by that at all. He's a streaky shooter, and he got it going that night in a big way.
Batting off the right screen, and there he is. Wow.
Confidence is still high, picking up where he left off after the Northeastern game. You can't go under ball screens on Batten, especially not with him feeling as good as he's feeling now.
Team leading 35th three-pointer of the season for Dimitri Batten. Nice spin from Higgins. Walk out.
When you talk about meet me at the rim, Higgins went baseline with the reverse slam.
One of the most improved players ever in a Delaware uniform, coming in as a young freshman and now as a senior, all-time leader in block shots and rebounds. Hill for three. Three ran right into his own man, Higgins, and lost it out of bounds.
Watch this quick spin on the baseline. He had a feeling for where Wright was, took advantage of the baseline slide, goes reverse, and takes the hit from Ross. Excellent quick move, excellent athleticism. When you think of Ross for Old Dominion and then Higgins for Delaware, you're looking at two of the most athletic guys, not only in the CAA, but in the country, especially that play that 4 position.
Jim Corrigan had high praise for Higgins, so that's what college basketball is all about. You come in, you're a little underrated, not heavily recruited. He's talking about Higgins, and then all of a sudden, here he is as a first-team All-CAA selection.
Well, credit Monte Ross and his staff for working with him, developing his game. You know, now he can hit the face-up jump shot. You just saw the post move, the spin on the baseline. And the one thing people don't give post guys credit for is their ability to handle the ball. In the post, you have to have some basic ball skills, and he showed you a spin dribble in the post. That's what enabled him to get to the other side for the dunk.
Had some help for a couple of years under former Blue Hen and all-time leading scorer Mike Pegues, and an assistant coach. Now it's Xavier.
Oh, Pegues could work on that box and in that short corner. He could score it any kind of way you needed it.
Batten for three for ODU. Got it again. And that's 2 for Dimitri Batten. Higgins up high. It's by Wright into Painter. No offensive foul, and that's going to change things. That's the second on Jamel Higgins.
Watch Batten right there. Sadler cannot go under the screens on him. He's too good a shooter, and he's feeling good about himself. You have to chase him over the top. Now, right here, too much room in that zone. You have to know where he is, get to him, and make him put it on the deck.
All right, Ron, so 12.5 to go here in this first half. Jamel Higgins out of the ball game with 2 fouls. Carl Baptiste checks in as we have an offensive foul here on ODU's Palmer.
And what's so important about Higgins going out with 2 is not necessarily the things that he does offensively, but his energy on the defensive end. He clogs up the middle, he gets he blocks shots, and he's the anchor defensively. You always hear his mouth, and you hear him talking on D. They don't have that now.
Well, Baptiste is in, number 33 for Delaware, and he had a real breakout game when you or I were at Drexel, and he had 13 rebounds, a career high, and 8 points. And last game, he has 9 points in 13 minutes down at George Mason, so he's playing a lot better.
He's a more than capable scorer, and that's what makes Delaware such a tough team to scout for, because they can hurt you in several different ways.
Foul on Bako. And the young freshman picks up his first. Delaware's made their last 3 field goals. Old Dominion, a much different team under interim head coach Jim Corrigan here. They were 2-19, or 2-20, I should say. Now 3-21. 1-11 in the CAA. Sadler for 3. Batten the rebound. What a strong move by Painter as he gets by Baptiste for 2.
I really love Painter's game when his action is toward the basket. See, he has the ability to take the jump shot. When he doesn't fall in love with that jumper and just mixes it in occasionally with some post moves, he's a dangerous, dangerous center in this league.
Brinkley now against Wright. And they call it a foul.
Yeah, I got that draw.
Delaware right now in the number 2 slot. Northeastern with a bye as the number 1 seed. Painter for 3. There it is.
That's an example of his versatility. Last 2 possessions, he went on the inside. This time he steps out. I can live with that. Now he's got to go back in the paint and go to work.
It was a good look, too. He didn't really force that one.
He had time. He had space.
Old Dominion is on an 11-2 run. The lead by 7. Baptiste, though, slams it in. I want to go back into Painter. Painter with authority to the inside. Seven already for him. They go along with 2 rebounds. 3. Counted by Palmore. Foul going to be on Dimitri Batten for ODU.
Watch Painter. He steps out, takes the 3. Nice job. He had space. He had time. Next possession, very next possession, he goes on the block, goes to work, sells baseline, comes back to the middle with a nice little jump hook. When he's mixing his game up like that, he's a tough, tough guard. You see him taking advantage of Hagans not being on the floor for Delaware right now.
That's right. Jamel Hagans on the bench with 2 fouls. Top inside player for the Blue Hens. Anderson got that one. And Anderson knocks down the 3-pointer. 2 for 4 now for him. Ross right in, no good. 3. And Jarvis 3 finishes. Coming off a 20-point, 10-rebound effort at George Mason. Career-high 10 rebounds, also had 6 assists, and he'll turn it on. He did this last year around this time, really started playing well for the Blue Hens. What a board. Anderson steps it in. Rebound Ross. Painter running the floor well.
Good job by the big fella, getting the puppies up and down. He's showing you he can score in various ways. We've seen him step out. We've seen him catch on the block and go to work. And that time it was just a foot race. He beat the Delaware bigs down for the easy deuce.
New life for that guy. 9 points now tonight. A senior transfer from NC State. Can't forget about Brinkley in the post as well. He had a good game down at George Mason.
He's the kind of guy that once you forget he's on the court, he starts to hurt you.
Deflection there by Bako, but Brinkley, there he is.
I like that. Yeah. He's the quintessential garbage guy. You know, everyone gives Hagans the attention. Everyone gives Sadler the attention, or even 3. And he's the guy at the end of the night. You say, how did that guy get 8, 10 points and 6 rebounds?
Trying to set you up well here tonight, Ron.
Excellent job. I like my point guard.
Here's Bako. Tough feed inside, and Ross comes up with it and draws the foul. He's going to take a short break. He had 15 points and 16 rebounds in the last game in that loss against Northeastern on Saturday. Ross is at the free throw line. Sunday, celebrate hockey with a day filled with great NFL, NHL matchups. First, the Penguins take on the Sabres, followed by Kings, Blackhawks, leading up to the Capitals and Rangers right here on the NBC Sports Network. Hockey Day in America presented by Discover. Coverage begins Sunday at 12 Eastern. Old Dominion has led by as many as 7 points tonight. Hagans is back in with 2 fouls. Three. Didn't get the pull-up. And it's Palmore fighting hard for it out of bounds.
Mike, Old Dominion is doing a very good job at disrupting Delaware in their half-court sets.
Nice speed inside the Sadler. Well, as you say that, the inbound gets it easy, too.
Exactly.
Bako and Palmer, two young freshmen for ODU that are going to be really good for years to come.
They've lost a lot of playing time during this tumultuous season, and you're not going to see the true benefits of it until next year or the year after.
There's Palmer right now on the feed down to right. Gets the two. Higgins against Wright. Three now for three. And he hits it. So double team coming down on Higgins, Ron. He finds Anderson for three, and now 3 for 3. Wright missing the three.
See, if you're Delaware right now, you go back inside to Higgins, force the double team, and let him kick it back out again. See, I don't like that look. You had success throwing it inside. You drew the double team. That was a contested three. If you throw it inside, force the double team, you're taking that same shot with an open look.
But a left-handed floater by Palmer doesn't go. Brinkley rips away the rebound. They're going to call a foul here. Now they'll confirm. Yep, going to call a foul on Nick Wright. Doesn't like the call for ODU on the whole. It's going to be his first.
Returning first for the Monarchs, of Old Dominion 11, DeShawn Patriot. And for Michael into Delaware 13.
I don't know where the foul is, but
the official saw something, so he made a call, Mike. No, I don't see what that was either.
Anderson goes baseline. And he'll be called for the offensive foul. Nice job by Palmer to take the charge and hold his ground.
Well, that's great defensive rotation. And Coach Jim Corrigan said that was their point of emphasis, defensive rotations. He said he hasn't had a lot of practice time to change a lot of things, but he felt that earlier in the year that once the initial guy was beaten, the guy was getting layups. He said we have to rotate better defensively. We've seen 2 rotation charges that have been an awesome job by Old Dominion.
Well, they're certainly doing that, Ron. They beat Drexel on Thursday and took Northeastern to overtime on Saturday. Now here tied with Delaware on the road. Their 3rd game in 5 days. Higgins. And this time threw it off the hands of Larry Savage.
Returning from the Fighting Blue Hens, 33.
Baptiste back in for Higgins, who's got the 2 fouls.
Great job, I think, by Monte Ross at getting Higgins out. He did some positive things, got a few rebounds, got a few assists. Now get him out, 5 minutes to go so he doesn't pick up his 3rd.
Yeah, it's smart, but he stays active in the game.
No, exactly. And that's when you have an upperclassman, you can get away with taking those risks because they understand how not to pick up those extra fouls.
Painter misses the long 2, 3, another rebound. You can see how he got 10 the other night against George Mason. Anderson launching and draining.
Anderson keeps you honest, doesn't he? The minute you start to give too much attention to everyone else, he kills you every time.
Anderson is 3 of 5 from 3-point range with 9 points tonight. Hill counters. Dante Hill from the outside.
DeShawn Patriot, assist.
3% the other night for Old Dominion, Ron, from the outside. 1 of 26. A little bit better so far here tonight.
19% on the year. They'll give him that shot.
3 in a hurry. Missing the layup. Ross the rebound. Wild play by Ross. He turns it over.
And he knew it. As soon as he left his feet and didn't have a shot, he knew he made a bonehead mistake.
Savage now for the Blue Hens.
Really sloppy both ways. Look for one of the coaches potentially to call a timeout to settle things down and get a little bit organized.
Anderson, another 3. Bacon on the box out. Now we're going to jump. As Page,
who can V-cut, who can pop and get open, who can square up, who can execute the best.
Hill gets it up to Ross as the Monarchs break pressure. Blocked was Palmer by Brinkley. And a traveling violation gives it back over to Delaware. These two teams met back on January 5th in Norfolk, Virginia. Ron, Delaware won that game 84-72.
But this Old Dominion Ball Club is playing totally differently now. You see the defensive focus. You see offensively them playing a little bit looser. Yet in the half court, they're doing their best to execute and make the extra pass. In Delaware, give them credit. They're playing better now than they were at that point in the season.
Sadler. Wild runner doesn't go. And a follow by Brinkley is there. Josh Brinkley comes off a 17-point effort in 28 minutes of action down at George Mason on Saturday. Where the Blue Hens won for the first time in 10 tries. Painter, look at the little left-handed hook.
I'm telling you, the big fella can play. When he's locked in mentally, and give Jim Corrigan a lot of credit, because earlier in the season, he turned into a jump shooter. Now, the last 3 or 4 games, you've seen him go inside and then go outside an awful lot more.
Anderson is just launching away tonight. Hits another long-range jumper. 4 3-pointers for him tonight. Blue Hens up 3. Painter now from the outside. Sadler. And Baptiste will finish. And now this is the thing you have to watch for if your Old Dominion did not let Delaware get on such a big run where it starts to become out of reach a little bit.
Right, you have to be able to break the run, and the way you do that is get some action going toward the basket unless you have a wide open look.
Batten. Rebound Painter, and Painter was held. That shot does not count. Coming up at the half, your brother in action, Ron. JT the third, home against Marquette. I think they had the lead there, right?
Yeah, I'm on pins and needles right now. If they can grab this one, they'll be in great shape in conference play.
TCU in Oklahoma, and Russ Thaler's in the studio at halftime, by the way, for all that and more. So stay tuned. Coming up at the break as Painter, now you don't like that one, fires that one real quick from three-point range.
Exactly. His last 2 shots have been threes. You don't need threes right now. Get some action going towards the basket. You've had a few empty possessions, and right now Drexel's on a roll. You want to try to get to the free throw line if you're Old Dominion.
Largest lead for Delaware tonight at 5 points. As we approach the 1-minute mark to go in this first half. Anderson couldn't hang on to the pass. And Batten is bumped by Anderson on his way to the basket. Now that's 3 fouls on Kyle Anderson.
Watch this. Nice set run, but it was a poor pass, and Anderson couldn't quite get his hands on it, but he sprints back, tries to stop Batten from getting the easy deuce. Now Anderson, who's playing very well, he's got 12 points. He's got 3 fouls. You got Hagens on his bench right now, and he's got 2. So you have 2 key guys that at the start of the third are going to have to be very smart as it relates to how they play defensively.
Batten is at the free throw line. Every weekday morning, join the National Sportscaster of the Year by the NSSA. He'll be honored in June in Salisbury, North Carolina. Dan Patrick and the Dan Patrick Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 Eastern, right here on the NBC Sports Network. Batten's got 8 points for ODU as they hang tough down by 3.
I really like Batten to be a young player in this league. Usually you see when you have a monster night the game before, usually you try to teach young guys try to duplicate what they did. He's not doing that. He's letting the game come to him.
Savage's shot doesn't go. Painter another rebound. He's got 7 so far tonight. Palmore rejected by the combination of Brinkley and 3. It'll stay with ODU. Painter. The shot is good over Brinkley. And DeShawn Painter tonight with 13 points.
When he goes to the block, I'm going to say it every single time.
Down by just 1 on the road at Delaware, a team trying to hang on, secure the #2 spot in the CAA tournament. Going to be tough to catch Northeastern at #1. They built up a 3-game lead. Sadler recovered by 3. 5-on-4 as Palmore needs to get back. And he does. Delaware can hold for the final shot here. Three. Rebound Hill. And I don't think it would have counted even if he got it. So Delaware takes a 34-33 lead into the locker room at halftime. But how about DeShawn Pager with 13 points and 7 rebounds for ODU on the road. First half here in the books at Delaware. Let's go to Russ Thaler at our NBC Sports Network studio. And look at this. Northeastern's 11-1 run. William & Mary is 3-8, and the Huskies are just having their struggles with everyone, it seems like. Needed overtime to beat Old Dominion on Saturday. And Delaware in a fight here tonight. Blue Hens at 12-12, 7-4 in the CAA. Old Dominion 3-21 and 1-11 in conference play. Ross tips it away.
You know how we touched on earlier? It seems like Old Dominion knows all the sets that Delaware is running. That was a prime example. Ross knew that Higgins was coming to the opposite block and just beat him there and got the easy deflection.
Second meeting between these two this year. Higgins had a sit for a little bit of that first half for Delaware with 2 fouls. Anderson has 3 fouls, by the way. He starts in the second half here. 3. Rejected again by Ross. Richard Ross coming into tonight with 38 blocks for the Monarchs.
Watch this defensive rotation by Ross. He sees that his teammate was beat. He came from the weak side over to offer help. And if he didn't think he could have gotten the block, he would have taken the charge, as we saw them do twice in the first half.
Pass goes off the rim. Painter for 3. Brinkley with a little lane to the basket, but misses the shot. Dante Hill in that first half, 1 for 5. He hit a 3-pointer. Has a couple of assists, though. Ross sets the screen for Bako, but he can't finish on the 3. Higgins looking for the cutter, Sadler, and he is fouled. Second foul on Palmore for ODU. First team foul of the second half.
Delaware did a really good job, Mike, in the first half at throwing it inside to Higgins. When the double team came, Higgins now became like a point guard. He was the one making the decision as to who would get the ball, either it be a cutter or to a shooter on the perimeter. That time, he saw Sadler slicing down the middle, and he made a beautiful pass for the N1.
It's been a big part of Hagen's game this year, and recognizing where the double team is coming from, finding the open man.
And that comes with repetition. It comes with maturity. A lot of post guys take a long time to know when to throw a pass, know who to throw the right pass to as well.
We got two really good post guys in this game tonight, Painter and Higgins, and there they are.